understanding neural networks, in the last video we saw how a single neuron model works if linear regression is implemented using that model. In this video, we will try to understand the representation that is used in a fully connected multi-layered perceptrons in terms of the functions used, the weights used, and the output of coming out of the functions used, so that when we try to learn how the weights are learned in case of multi-layered perceptrons, the notations come handy and it's easy for us to interpret those specific weights or unique functions or unique outputs coming out of those functions. So let's start with the structure of a multi-layered perceptron. As already explained, this is how the structure of a multi-layered perceptron looks like. First of all, we have the input layer, which we are showing by this rectangle. We are representing a specific data point from our data set, that is xi, and we are assuming that our data set has 4 dimensions or 4 features, that is x belongs to, how is it represented? X belongs to R4. So our data set has 4 dimensions or 4 features. So this is how it is represented. Okay, so between the input layer, this is the input layer, and this is the output layer. Between the input layer and the output layer, all the layers that fall are called hidden layers, and hidden layers are given their own number. So this will be hidden layer 1. Depending on the sequence, they are numbered. So hidden layer 1, this is the hidden layer, this is hidden layer 2. I'm just giving you a quick recap so that whatever you studied in the last videos comes to your mind quickly. Okay, so using the input layer and the hidden layers and the output layer, our multi-layered perceptron gives an output of yi target. This is the target value being predicted by this whole multi-layered perceptron model. So this is the multi-layered perceptron model that is giving our output as, the output as yi. Okay, and based on the yi that we receive, based on the yi that is given as an output of our multi-layer perceptron, we calculate the loss function on that using that output target value. So loss function is calculated using the actual value given in the data set of the target value, actual value given of the target, and the value predicted by the model, target value predicted by the model. So we calculate our loss function based on these two values. One thing to understand here in the fully connected multi-layered perceptron model is that there are various notations that are used globally, and you need to learn those notations that are used in this network of neurons to easily handle and understand how the back propagation methodology or the weight determination or the training of the multi-layer perceptron works. So all of the functions, activation functions that are involved in a multi-layered perceptron are given a numbering depending on which layer they are falling into. So the input layer is considered separate to all other, is considered separately to all other models. So the input layer is called the input layer, and all other layers are numbered in the sequence they fall after the input layer. So the first layer is called the hidden layer 1. Between the input and the output layer, I've already told you all the layers are numbered in the same sequence. There is just one exception about the output layer. The output layer is called the last layer and is numbered in the same sequence it falls after the last hidden layer. So if this hidden layer is layer 2, if this is hidden layer 2, this output layer will be called layer 3. Layer 3 or the output layer. And similarly, the activation function in this, you can see we may have multiple activation functions in some of the layers. The output layer though has just one activation function, so it's always easy. So depending on which layer number the activation function is falling, and then which sequence out of all the activation function, which sequence is the activation function falling into, we number the activation functions. So this box will have the activation function numbering as 1 1. That means it's falling in the first layer and it is falling as the first activation function of the first layer. So it will be called F11, F12. This one represents, so for functions, for activation functions, this one represents Okay, if this is if we are representing f11, this one represents, this is the first function of the first layer. If it is f12, then what does it represent? It represents that this activation function is the second function of the second function of the first layer. Okay, so hope you got it. F11 represents first function of the first layer, second function of the first layer, third function of the first layer. This F21 represents first function of the second layer. So this is basically your layer number, and this is the function serial number. Okay, second function of second layer. This is first function of the third layer. This is basically your layer. This is the function sequence of that layer. Okay, so this is how the functions are numbered. And moving on, how do we number the outputs? Okay, so outputs given by each of these specific functions are numbered in the same way the function is numbered. So this activation function f11 will give the output as 11, and this also will be output 11. So all the outputs that will be coming out of activation function f11 will have the same value, and the notation to represent the output values is same as what we used in f11. That is, the first number represents the layer in which the output is coming from, and the second number represents the sequence of the the output is falling in that particular layer. So what will be the output coming out of f12? It will be just output coming out of 12, output coming out of the activation function 12. So this simply means that this is the output coming out of activation function 12. So similarly, because all the branches coming out of our activation function will have the same output, therefore this also will become output 12. That is output coming out of f12, activation function 12. This will be output 13, and this also will be output 13, because both of these branches are coming out of f13. Similarly, the output coming out at this place will be output 21, because the output is coming out of activation function from the second layer falling first in the sequence of the second layer. So what will be the output over here? Yes, it will be 22, output coming out of the activation function 22. The output over here, the final output coming out of the output layer will be output 31, output coming out of the activation function 31. Okay, so three things you have to remember: the notation of activation functions, notation used for activation function, notation used for representing the outputs coming out of activation function, and the last one is how the weights are, specific weights are represented. So the weights for each of the connection may be different. So each of the weights are unique, and they must be represented in a special way, in a way that they don't conflict with each other. So there is another notation that is used for weights. It's a bit interesting. So for weights, the notation that we use is, if this is the weight we are going to represent, the notation that we are going to use is, on the top we represent the weight in which layer the weight is going to. So on the top, if this is 1, this means that this weight is going as an input to which layer? That is the first layer over here. If it is 1, that this means this weight is going as an input to the first layer. That means hidden layer 1. And the notation that we use over here, at the top we are using, this is the new thing, this is the only new thing that we add for the weights. Rest all remains the same. This W12 means that this is the first input going into the second function, second neuron, or second activation function, you can say second activation function. So if we have been given W2, W3, what does this notation represent? This means that this weight will be going as an input to the hidden layer 2, just to let's represent this one, to hidden layer 2, and this will be going from second activation function of hidden layer 1 to the third activation function of hidden layer 2. Okay, so we don't have a third activation function in our hidden layer 2. So let's take another example. If we have the weight represented as, let's say, weight 2 1 2, what does this mean? This means that this weight represents the this weight is there on the interconnecting edge going into the hidden layer 2, and this edge is going from hidden layer's activation function first to hidden layer 2's activation function number 2. Okay, so W212, let's see where it is. W212, here it is. This is what it represents. That is, it's representing the edge that is going to the hidden layer 2 from the first activation function of hidden layer 1 to the second activation function of hidden layer 2. So this is how it is represented. So in this video we got to understand how the weights functions and the output coming out of the activation functions are represented, how the branching, how the output related to each of the branches is represented, and this will be very helpful while connecting the fully connected multi-layer perceptron. How the learning is done, how the weights are manipulated and finally reached out to. For now, I hope that you like this video. So please like and subscribe the video, and if you have any questions, please post that in the comment sections. We'll be further continuing our journey on learning how the weights work in our next video. Thank you and goodbye.